Good morning, St. Lucia. Hello and welcome to another morning update live on NTN. My name is Jessie Leonce and I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching on air, online, residents here on island, St. Lucians in the diaspora, in the region, and further afield in the wider world, thank you so much for tuning into NTN to keep abreast with what's happening here on island. We're coming to you live from the Information Command Center, where, among other things, we keep watch over COVID-19, the trends in terms of the management of COVID-19, and the rate of infection and recovery. We have an update for you this morning coming from the Assistant Principal Nursing Officer, also the Immunization Manager out of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Of course, they have some word for us. That's coming up later on in the program. As usual, we have the latest figures for COVID-19 as at 14th June 2021. That's for yesterday, Monday, 14th June. And we also have a word from the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmont George. She's calling for adherence to COVID-19 protocols, continued adherence, as St. Lucia records an increase in the cases of the British variant. So we'll hear from the CMO in just a moment as well. And St. Lucia is joining Dominica and Grenada for Trifecta Carnival, a unified approach at the branding and commercialization of the three carnival products. We did mention it yesterday in our program, but we do have a comprehensive report to let you in on what you can expect and how the organizers of Carnival in the three islands are feeling about this approach as financed by the CDB. And also the OECS this week is celebrating 40 years of unity and progress. We'll let you in on an ecumenical service that was held over the weekend as part of observances. So stay tuned for those stories and more. We have some bulletin information as well coming your way for the next 30 minutes or so, live on NTN with the morning update.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow, for a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies, when her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul, and her unique view can change your whole perspective. She has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is St. Lucia. Let her inspire you.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. For those of you just joining us, it's not too late. We've just started the program and we're beginning with a vaccination update from the Immunization Manager, also Assistant Principal Nursing Officer from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Take a look.
The national COVID-19 vaccination campaign is now in its 4th month of implementation. As of Sunday, 13th June 2021, a total of 29,655 first doses and 20,589 second doses of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine have been administered. This represents 16.4% and 11.4% of the population receiving the first and second doses respectively. During the month of May 2021, the campaign modified its initial phased approach to be complemented with a mobile component. This component was included in the campaign to facilitate greater ease of access to the vaccine by the citizenry. The Ministry of Health and Wellness continues an intense rollout of the campaign, with vaccines being offered at a wide range of locations. Vaccines are offered at routine static vaccination sites every week island-wide, as well as at mobile sites within communities and at locations of high human traffic. The elderly, people with mobile challenges, and people living with chronic non-communicable conditions continue to be vaccinated within their homes to ensure individuals at high risk for severe COVID-19 infection are reached and provided with the protection offered by the vaccine. It should be noted that a cross-section of the private sector has partnered with the Ministry of Health to provide vaccine to their management and staff within their workplace. This has proven to be an effective approach for increasing vaccination coverage amongst individuals in their productive years of life. The Ministry of Health notes particular success with this strategy within the hotel sector. To date, some hotels have achieved vaccine coverage of about 65 to 70% of their staff complement. This is a remarkable achievement, especially in a sector where there is a higher risk of possible exposure to the COVID-19 virus, given the nature of the heightened level of daily interaction with a wide range of people. This reduces the likelihood of a surge in cases, given this level of protection, and helping strengthen productivity in that sector. As the economy slowly reopens and restrictions are lessened, the need to have a significant proportion of the workforce covered with the COVID-19 vaccine becomes increasingly important to protect the health of our citizenry. The demand for vaccines worldwide far surpasses the supply, as we are still in a critical point in the pandemic where vaccine supply is limited. The COVAX facility remains committed to the delivery of the allocated number of doses to St. Lucia. The third tranche of vaccines is expected in the coming weeks, and the opportunity to continue procuring additional doses for this platform exists. Currently, the AstraZeneca vaccine is the only vaccine available in our country. The Ministry of Health continues to engage authorized vaccine suppliers with the intention of adding other COVID-19 vaccines to the current program. Vaccine safety and monitoring for severe adverse events remain a critical component of the vaccine rollout. It has been noted that recent reports released by global health authorities indicates that there is an association of blood clotting events after the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine. We at the Ministry of Health are aware that this may have contributed to a level of hesitancy towards the vaccine and thus affecting uptake. We assure all that these events have been confirmed as being extremely rare and an unlikely expected outcome for the vast majority of people who receive this vaccine. It is important to consider that clotting problems are a common complication of COVID-19 infection, and it is also associated with other prevalent health conditions, including obesity. The Ministry of Health assures the citizenry that the safety of each individual is of paramount importance. There is in place a vaccine monitoring system which allows for the keeping of a record of any adverse effect and a timely intervention if this occurs. Given this monitoring system, it is important that each individual who has been vaccinated and experience a response beyond the expected side effects contact the healthcare provider to report the experience. Once notified An investigation will ensue to determine causality. Though this monitoring system exists to capture adverse events in an effort to ensure vaccine safety, it is important to bear in mind that vaccine benefits continue to vastly outweigh any possible risk. While the Ministry of Health and Wellness remains steadfast in its efforts towards achieving population immunity, you are encouraged to continue adhering to the public health measures, wearing of masks, hand hygiene, and physical distancing protocols. The Ministry of Health will continue to provide updates of the COVID-19 vaccination rollout.
That was the word there from Ms. Tekla Jean-Baptiste, the immunization manager, as well as the assistant principal nursing officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, informing us that as of Sunday, June 13th, 2021, 29,655 first doses have been administered and 20,589 second doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine have been administered on Ireland. And this is representing 16.4% and 11.4% of the population receiving the first and second doses, respectively. The encouragement on the part of the Ministry of Health and Wellness is that more and more persons come in to get vaccinated so that ultimately the island can achieve herd immunity to resume and to come back to a society that was that we enjoyed before COVID-19. In the latest word from the Ministry of Health and Wellness on our latest figures, infection and recovery, we have Monday, June 14, word coming from the ministry that there were 5 new cases of COVID-19 coming out of the Ezra Long Laboratory, and this is from a batch of 143 samples that were taken between the 11th to the 13th of June. That's over the weekend, Friday into the weekend, and they were all processed on Sunday. These newly diagnosed individuals were seen at the various community respiratory clinics, nothing out of the ordinary, being asked to remain in isolation until the outcome of their tests. And for those who tested positive, they have been taken in for care, they've been placed in isolation, and contact tracing is now underway. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is also reporting the recovery of 7 individuals, meaning that over 5,000 of our fellow residents of St. Lucia have now successfully recovered from COVID-19. So 5,185 individuals being diagnosed to date in country. And when you look at those who've been repatriated, as well as individuals who have unfortunately succumbed associated with COVID-19, 5,000 residents of St. Lucia have now successfully recovered from COVID-19. As of yesterday, Sunday, June 13, a total of 29,655 individuals. As I mentioned earlier, that number is going up in terms of persons getting vaccinated. Right now, the COVID-19 vaccination campaign is targeting the entire population, and by that we don't mean the entire population, we mean persons 18 years and older. If you've decided that you want to get vaccinated, you can go onto the website hmi.govt.lc to pre-register. And of course, when you are going to the site that is administering the COVID-19 vaccine, you can go, but please do go with a form of ID. It could be your passport, national ID, driver's license, but just to ensure that they can put you in the system, confirm you as having received your first dose. If you're going for your second dose, please ensure that you carry with you your vaccination card so that they can tick you off for your second dose and confirm you as fully vaccinated against COVID-19 as per the prescription of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. What we're going to do is take a quick break. When we come back, we will hear from the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, on the increased cases of the British variant and the need for us to continue adhering to the protocols, because you heard 16.4% and 11.4% of the population inoculated, receiving the first and second dose respectively of COVID-19. We're still a long way off from achieving herd immunity, so we need to continue adhering to the protocols, curfew under the state of emergency until better can be done. Stay with us.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join revolution.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Before we went to break, we got the update on the COVID-19 figures, but we're hearing from the Ministry of Health and Wellness overall that there is a reduction in the total number of diagnosed COVID-19 cases. There has been a reduction in the last few weeks. And there was also a reduction in the number of persons with respiratory illnesses, reduced admissions at the respiratory hospital, and there were also reduced numbers accessing care at the respiratory clinics on island. The daily infection rate for the past week was 3.2 per 100,000 per day and an average of six cases per day. The majority of the cases continue to be seen in the southern region of the island and also in the north, more specifically Babonneau and Gros Islet. Health officials continue to manage outbreaks emanating from social activities. We have the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmont-George, saying that the ministry is continuing its surveillance of the COVID-19 and testing on a daily basis. But while the ministry notes a reduction in the cases so far, there has been an increase in the cases of the British variant of COVID-19 on island. We now go to a clip from Dr. Sharon Belmont-George.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness has recently received new results from the Caribbean Public Health Agency in relation to gene sequencing for variants of concern. We have noted 19 more cases of the British variant in country, bringing the total number of British variants diagnosed in country to 41. All of the new cases are nationals. The majority of the variants are from Babonneau, Gros Islet and Castries. The samples sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency are sequenced to detect all of the possible variants, but the British variant is the only one which has been detected in St. Lucia thus far. We would like to continue to alert the public that we are still in a very vulnerable position based on the high risk of introduction of COVID-19 and the other variants of concern from developed countries and the neighboring Martinique and transmission in country due to poor compliance to protocols. We note the increase in social activities across the island, especially on weekends, and the general relaxation of the public health measures. We continue to advise the public to remain vigilant, adhere to the protocols that are put in place to keep us safe.
Dr. Belmont-George is urging the public to continue regular hand washing, wearing a face mask in public places, avoiding crowds and persons with respiratory symptoms, and keep frequently touched surfaces clean. The CMO also encourages nationals to get vaccinated.
Vaccination remains the most effective public health measure in managing infectious diseases. The AstraZeneca vaccine has been proven to be safe and effective in protecting persons from developing COVID-19, its severe forms, complications, hospitalizations, and death. We continue to urge the public to access the various sites to get immunized at the soonest. The vaccine is available free of charge to the public at many venues on a daily basis. As of yesterday, June 13th, 2021, a total of 29,655 persons have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and 20,589 have received the second dose. Please encourage your family and friends to get immunized so we can all be protected.
And that was the word from Dr. Sharon Belmont George. Just to let you know, over the last 14 days, 91 new cases were recorded. And at news time, there were 97 active cases in country, now brought up to, based on the word that we're receiving from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, now brought up to 95. We continue with a word this morning in terms of mass events here in St. Lucia. We know that there has been some exception being made for persons who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 to have some social gatherings and so on, some concession for individuals in that bracket, and also the hope that many individuals who have not made up their minds yet can decide to do so on that basis to get a little bit of freedom to do some of the things that we once enjoyed without question. But in the case of mass events, we had a panel discussion held live on NTN just recently, talking about the approach that 3 islands in the Caribbean are going to take in terms of how they market, how they commercialize their carnival product. So just to let you in on it, Export St. Lucia is facilitating a branding and commercialization initiative of a triune product. That is 3 carnivals in one being promoted, and that is the Dominica Carnival, Mass Dominic, St. Lucia Carnival, and the Carnival in Grenada, Spice Mass. So we have a report on the efforts that have been undertaken so far by Export St. Lucia as facilitators, as well as the rationale for this project under the facility of the Caribbean Development Bank. And also we'll hear from the organizers. We're talking Spice Mass Corporation, Events Company of St. Lucia, and also Discover Dominica, hearing from them their views on what this unified, synergistic approach will do for everyone involved, all the stakeholders on the ground in the various islands that are dependent on successful carnivals. Take a look. Plans for the branding and commercialization of Carnival in St. Lucia, Dominica, and Grenada as a triune product are well advanced. The Trifecta Carnival is being described as an experience-driven, creative commercial product created for the 3 island showcases that offer the patron the opportunity to immerse themselves at varying levels and price points across the 3 distinct Caribbean carnivals. The experience promises a transformative ritual of 3 carnivals that, when completed once or several times over the 3-year duration of the program, will unleash positive energy into the world. 3 carnivals, 1 ritual. Love, party, power. Join the ritual. Mass Dominic in Dominica delivering the love, St. Lucia Carnival delivering the party, and Spice Mass delivering the power in Grenada. Export St. Lucia is facilitating this trifecta offering. Senior Client Manager on the project, Anthony John, provided an update during a recent panel discussion to sensitize the public on this synergistic effort.
The project is at a stage where we have at the joint marketing initiatives where each participating country, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Grenada, they have to come up with one event that would promote the carnival in those free country territories. We are at the stage where we're about to unveil a jingle promoting the free carnivals. At the national level, each country, each agency would be doing some promotional and marketing activities at the national level to ensure that persons home and abroad gets on board with the project, gets to know what's happening. They are at the stage where we commission of some social media marketing, and also promotion at the national level at items or areas in which the countries or the organizations seem fit for their respective entities.
All 3 carnivals have undergone extensive exercise to improve their commercialization, branding, and intellectual property protection. The Trifecta offering is one prong of the commercialization that cements the success of this overall initiative financed by the Caribbean Development Bank through its Cultural and Creative Industries Innovation Fund. Joining the panel virtually from Barbados was Bank Facility Coordinator Dr. Mariel Barrow-Magnon.
Given the current moment with many of our carnivals on pause due to COVID-19, it is indeed prescient to carefully consider how carnivals will evolve going forward. we are very, very proud of the output produced by Exports St. Lucia, their Dominican and Grenadian partners, and Excella Marketing. Indeed, as you have just witnessed, the branding and marketing strategy and intellectual property toolkit produced are of high caliber and great utility, not only to the partners, but as a model for our 19 borrowing member countries at the Caribbean Development Bank.
All three bodies responsible for Carnival in the participating islands are enthusiastic about the collaborative marketing initiative. Colin Pipe, Chief Executive Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, was also on hand virtually to share his expectations for Mass Dominic through this venture.
We are primarily patronized by the Dominica diaspora. And one of the things that we want to do and why we're particularly thrilled with this initiative is that we expect that this will give us additional exposure to the carnival goers, so to speak, the community of people who go to carnivals in different islands. And that by partnering with St. Lucia and Grenada and getting a different set of eyes looking at Dominica's carnival, it'll all go well for us in terms of attracting now some of these carnival goers to what is a new and different, or rather a different carnival experience.
Organizers are also reporting buy-in from the stakeholders in each population. Chief Executive Officer of the Spice Mass Corporation in Grenada, Kelvin Jacob, emphasized that the success of the Trifecta is predicated on addressing the concerns of stakeholders.
The ideas that came from that SWOT analysis, a lot of it came from our stakeholders. And we would have to pay a lot of attention to the weaknesses, especially pointed out in that SWOT analysis. We say that it came from our stakeholders and listen to what they are saying there and really try to work on improving that to get them to be happier with what the products that we are giving up. We know that many of them have been through the process with us in that project, and there is buy-in, and I think basically they're just waiting to see when we are open up again for carnival activities so that we can really work along together to execute a lot of the ideas and the plans. So as it comes to our stakeholders in Green, I think they are on board with us. And they are just waiting and hoping that we can actually pull off a carnival very soon.
In addition to the impression that the Trifecta has on patrons, organizers also hope to utilize the transformation to attract investors to further enhance the carnival product. For the Government Information Service, I am Jessie Leonce reporting. Well, that brings us to the end of our program for this morning. We've run out of time, unfortunately, but I invite you to tune in. Well, just go onto our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, to catch some of the glimpses of the virtual Thanksgiving service that was held as part of observances for the 40th anniversary of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. And also for your own general knowledge, you could just Google the OECS, find out where it all started or what has happened so far through this organization, through this union. Like I said, all the time I have for now, my name is Jessie Leon signing off. Do enjoy the rest of your day. And until this time tomorrow morning, do adhere to the protocols, adhere to the curfew. Keep safe. Goodbye.